Did you know that ancient Egyptians kept pet crocodiles? Well, there's more incredible facts you probably didn't know about ancient Egypt. Stick around to find out what they are. When we hear the word pharaohs, most of us instantly think of pyramids and mummies. But the truth is, ancient Egypt wasn't just temples and statues. It was a civilization full of science that was thousands of years ahead of its time. In this video, we'll explore the greatest sciences developed by the ancient Egyptians that still amaze the world today. At No. 1, we have medicine and mummification. How does one even start talking about ancient Egypt and not begin with mummies? Ancient Egyptians were among the first doctors in history. Medical papyri like the Edwin Smith Papyrus described detailed surgical procedures, including the treatment of wounds, fractures, and even brain surgery. They used herbs and plants to treat various diseases. For example, opium for pain, chamomile for anxiety, and even antibiotics before we discovered them. They also had remedies for skin and dental problems, like using a paste made of ground pearls and vinegar to whiten teeth. But their most incredible scientific achievement was mummification, the process of preserving human remains for the afterlife. They used a combination of salts, oils, and other chemicals to dehydrate the body and prevent decay. And they were so successful that some mummies have lasted thousands of years and are still in great condition today. Scientists are still studying the techniques and materials used by the Egyptians to learn how to preserve human remains better. And you thought mummies were just scary things in old movies. Next up at No. 2, we have astronomy and the stars. The Egyptians carefully observed the patterns of the stars and planets and used them to develop a sophisticated understanding of the universe. They knew that the year had 365 days and divided it into 12 months. They built temples and pyramids that were aligned with the rising and setting of certain stars. For example, the Temple of Karnak has an astronomical ceiling that depicts the path of the sun through the sky. And the Great Pyramid of Giza aligns almost perfectly with the true north and the constellation of Orion. The Egyptians kept track of time by observing the stars and used this knowledge to develop a calendar. They also believed that the pharaohs were divine and would eventually become stars themselves. At No. 3, we have mathematics and engineering. Now, let's talk about the engineering marvels of ancient Egypt, especially the pyramids. How did they manage to build these massive structures with such precision and accuracy? The answer lies in their mastery of mathematics. The ancient Egyptians learned how to measure angles and distances, calculate areas and volumes, and use geometry to create perfect shapes. They also developed a system of numbers and symbols that allowed them to record and manipulate large amounts of data. This knowledge helped them to survey and divide the land after the annual flood of the Nile River. They used knotted ropes to measure distances and create right angles. These guys were literally doing geometry in the real world. At number 4, we have chemistry. The ancient Egyptians were true alchemists. They mixed and matched different substances to create new materials with unique properties. For example, they created pigments that are still brightly colored today, after thousands of years, like the blue pigment that was used to paint the walls of tombs. They also worked with glass and created beautiful pieces of jewelry and perfume bottles. And let's not forget about their skills in metalworking. The ancient Egyptians were skilled metal workers who created everything from tools and weapons to decorative items and jewelry. They mastered the art of smelting and refining metals like gold, silver, bronze, and iron. Their ability to work with metals was so advanced that many historians consider them the founders of early chemistry. At No. 5, we have agriculture. Agriculture was the backbone of Egyptian society. The fertile land along the Nile River allowed the Egyptians to grow crops like wheat, barley, flax, and vegetables. They developed advanced irrigation systems to water their crops during the dry season and built dams to control the flow of the river. They even designed a farming calendar based on the annual flooding of the Nile. This innovation allowed them to predict when it was time to plant and harvest crops, ensuring that they had food to eat throughout the year. They also invented tools like the plow to help with planting and harvesting. Thanks to their advancements in agriculture, Egypt earned the nickname the breadbasket of the ancient world. The science of the pharaohs is not just ancient history, it's the foundation of human progress. Every medical, astronomical, and engineering achievement they made proves that they were far ahead of their time. That's why ancient Egypt remains one of the greatest inspirations for scientists and historians today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content. Thanks for watching.